Yo, what's up everybody? Gannon here, back again with my usual intro where I just kind of sit down in my chair all excited because today I watched some not just decent Star Trek, not some good Star Trek, but literally some Star Trek that is teetering between good and great. Today I literally watched just like a really entertaining good episode of Star Trek. I cannot lie, the mid-season, starter of Star Trek Discovery. Now that we are back, we've been on hiatus while Star Trek Prodigy has been airing. We've been on a little bit hiatus and we've come back strong. We've come back super strong. I enjoyed this episode hella. We had a handful of really just great highlights in this episode, from me seeing one of my favorite Star Trek species to also having Commander Owoshikun actually show up and do a lot and actually feel like more than just a background bridge character like the bridge crew normally does. It's good to be back. I'm also dropping a Lieutenant Sylvia Tilly video talking all about Tilly's weird and abrupt departure from the show. So if you want to watch that, I'm going to drop that video along with this one. I've been doing stuff outside of YouTube during the hiatus, and now that we're back and I'm going to be reviewing Star Trek Weekly, now I'm back to making YouTube videos. But with all that being said, let's get right into it. Today's episode starts off with Admiral Vance, President Rillick, realizing that they have been majorly duped by Tarka and Book. Tarka and Book managed to get Admiral Vance's authorization somehow in order for them to pull off their little stunt in securing a prototype spore drive that they are using to currently evade the Federation. President Rillick gives Admiral Vance and Michael Burnham a stern talking to, and I gotta be honest, that's a little bit annoying. Seeing the Federation president talk down to Admiral Vance like this just doesn't seem like President Rillick should have that much authority and power, being the Federation president, to really tell Admiral Vance off like that. But then again, it's warranted. They did kind of mess up and they did allow Book to kind of get away, and they're in a very volatile, dangerous situation with this unknown species. Also, that's another thing that's kind of exciting about this episode. We learn what the DMA is, and it's not something that's like crazy out there. It's not something that you couldn't have guessed, which is a normal, typical occurrence with Star Trek Discovery. A lot of the times people will tell me, hey Gannon, can you tell me what you think this is going to be, or can you theorize what this character's backstory is going to be like? And more often than not, the actual answer is so convoluted and crazy, and it's not something that you could ever like get context clues to come to that conclusion yourself. But in this episode, we kind of do learn and get an explanation for the DMA, but I'm getting way too ahead of myself. I'll get into that later because it's literally at the end of the episode. Even though President Rillick is kind of like drilling into Michael and Vance, it is totally warranted. It's totally deserved. Everything she's saying is facts. She's being a little bit bitchy about it, but it's like whatever. They know, and they come to the conclusion that Book and Tarka need isolineum in order to achieve their nefarious goals of combating this crazy species and combating the DMA head on. Also, isolineum, it's just really reminiscent of isolinear chips, and isolinear chips are something that is commonly used, I'm pretty sure, in both the 23rd and 24th centuries. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure it's just the 24th. Is isolinium used in isolinear chips? And if that's the case, why is isolinium so like black market, and why is it so hard to obtain? I don't know. The naming schemes maybe just are similar and they have nothing to do with each other, but if they do have something to do with each other, commonly use isolinear chips. Why is it so rare? Maybe it's just because it's been that long, and at this point in the timeline, isolinium's super rare. So basically, this episode was about both Michael and Book hitting up one of their old courier contacts, this dude by the name of Haas, and he runs this cool barge that's out in the middle of nowhere. It's on this like completely oceanic planet. When you're approaching the barge by ship, it looks like a giant sea serpent is coming to swallow you up, but if you fly through it, you realize it's just kind of a hologram image illusion. It's really freaking sick, actually. Admiral Vance is kind of a little bit peeved off that he let himself get duped by Tarka so brilliantly, so he goes to Michael and tells her, yo, Michael, you actually need to go kind of get this sorted out. You need to go kill two birds with one stone. You not only need to do what President Rillick is telling you to do, which is to investigate the species that has created the DMA, but you also need to kind of deal with Book. I don't trust anybody else to deal with this. I don't trust any of these other knuckleheads. I only trust you. You're the main character. You gotta go talk to Book. Michael goes to her old courier contact by the name of Haas. It's this really wrinkly alien looking guy. He's really cool, really personal, and the actor who played him did a really good job. His barge is sick. The casino, like, fighting barge where you go and do a whole bunch of, you know, fun gangster courier activities is really cool. The setting, the set, everything I liked about it. I just loved everything about Hawes's barge. That was kind of hard to say. So when they get to the barge, it turns into an instant, very saucy and very entertaining competition between Book and Michael in order to, like, complete their given tasks that they were given to them, like, by this Hawes guy. Dude's name is really annoying to say. Book and Tarka's mission is that they're supposed to identify the cheaters in the casino, and if they do that, then Hawes will give them the isolineum. Michael just wants to buy it, but she doesn't have enough money, so what she does is she actually enters Awoshikun into, like, the ring, the fighting ring that's in the middle of the casino, and she has everybody bet against her and this other guy. For a couple rounds, it seems like Awoshikun is getting her ass whooped, but really you start to realize that it's all just an act, and it was a way for them to get everybody in the casino to, like, pool all of their money against Awoshikun, and she finally, like, beat the dude's ass, and it was a really freaking awesome, cool scene. And there was just multiple scenes in this episode where Awoshikun seemed more than just her normal background bridge officer self. She had really cool dialogue with Tarka to the point where she antagonized him to act a little bit out of character, and he was giving this really cool speech about loss and grief and the weight that he bears down on his shoulders, and how he honestly feels like there's no other path for him besides this path of implied retribution. So freaking awesome seeing Awoshikun fight. That was just such a great scene. Something else that was cool about this episode is, well, basically both Book and Michael end up completing their tasks at the same time. They find out that the casino cheater on Hawes's barge is actually, this is so cool. This is top 3 highlights of the episode, by the way. It was a goddamn changeling. It was so cool getting to see one of Odo's kind outside of Deep Space Nine. I do not think that they've shown changelings outside of Deep Space Nine. Of course, they showed a Odo hologram recently in Star Trek Prodigy, and that was really cool. But oh my gosh, was it just so awesome to see a changeling outside of Deep Space Nine, like, doing stuff, because at this point in the timeline, it's really gratifying to see that changelings are almost like normal members of galactic society rather than being this weird member of this killer xenophobic space cult that exists on the other side of the galaxy. Do you know what I mean? It's super awesome to see. You get to see this changeling transform into, like, humanoid character into a tribble to evade capture, and then Tarka captures it in this energy field, and it looks like a female changeling. It's so cool to see. I love that. So many brownie points for the changeling, I cannot lie. There was also a really nice Culber and Stamets scene, just because Culber's really stressed out about Book and what he's doing, and, you know, the consequences of those little therapy sessions that Culber had with Book have now turned out for the worst. Book has gone rogue. He's a wanted man. He's going against the Federation. He's being played like an absolute flute by Tarka. So that was a really good, nice scene. It's always really awesome that they managed to sprinkle in the Stamets and Culber scene, but hilariously, they even mentioned this episode about how Gray's just, like, gone to Trill, and he's just not a character anymore, which, oh my gosh, wow, really just did nothing with their character. It's an absolute shame. Okay, and then also, I'm going to just mention a few more things about this episode because I've made 2 videos today. I worked today. I'm extremely tired. I actually need to eat and get to bed because I have to work again tomorrow. But this episode ended off brilliantly because Hawes decides that, you know, hey, you guys both completed your tasks at the same time. We're going to settle this dispute with a game of, I believe they called it, like, Leonian poker. Basically played a poker game with a couple of Emerald Chain grunts, and this was just an amazing scene for so many reasons. I truly felt like this was the first time that Michael and Book had chemistry that I didn't think was cheesy, and I honestly thought was wholesome, and I enjoyed it. I loved them playing this poker game. It's really kind of ironic that for the first time I feel and get something out of Michael and Book's relationship is when they're seemingly at this lover's quarrel where they're pitted against each other by just the situation that they're in their environment. Book has decided to take it upon himself to combat the DMA, but this directly goes against everything that Michael believes in and what she's trying to achieve. Almost working together in this poker game against these Emerald Chain grunts to make sure that they don't obtain the isolineum. It's really, really cool to see. And also, Michael Burnham, Sinequa Martin Green, was just acting so confidently and just brilliantly in that scene. It was really cool and it was really fun to watch. There has been a lack of Captain Burnham shining through in those moments, especially when this is supposed to be like the first Captain Burnham season. So it's just really good to see moments like that. We need a lot more of them. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that this episode was really good. It ended with Book getting the isolineum. You know, I saw this from a mile away. He has to get it in order for their little game to continue. But Michael Burnham cannot take all the L's in the episode. We find out at the end of the episode, President Rill looks salty at her like, okay, well, you did what I told you not to do, but you still didn't bring Book and Tarka back here. That's really naughty of you, Michael Burnham. But then Michael Burnham's like, hey, I'm the main character and I could do no wrong. I actually put a tracking device on the isolineum so we know exactly where Tarka and Book are. So I assume in the next episode that they're going to put a little task force together and they're going to go after Book and Tarka. Last thing I will mention before I end it here is that we learned that the DMA is basically a mining tool. It destroys whole celestial bodies and then takes out this one specific element called like bornite or something that in mass quantities is a crazy insane power source that is being used to power this giant crazy hyper blanket that covers an entire solar system. Like, it's not just a Dyson sphere where it encapsulates a star, it encapsulates an entire goddamn solar system. So that is really interesting to me. I cannot wait to see what this alien species is like. I cannot wait to see how they illustrate and kind of bring them to life. I can honestly already tell you guys that the DMA and the alien species and the mystery that's going on here is going to be infinitely better than the whole burn fiasco that we witnessed in season 3. But with all that being said, first review back after the hiatus. I haven't made like a video in a goddamn month, so if this was a little bit rough, please bear with me. If there's anything that you'd like to share with me, please leave it down in the comments below. I love comments more than anything in this world. I love when people leave me comments telling me their opinions about Star Trek or about anything really. If you're enjoying the content that you see on the channel, I'd be very flattered if you were to subscribe. I am getting a neck tattoo when I get 1,000 subscribers, so if you're enjoying any of the content that you see on the channel, I'd be super flattered if you subscribe. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and I'm gonna have to see you guys in the next one. Live long and prosper.